experimenting different kind of flavors. We haven't done it yet, but we are thinking about doing a sweet tamale next year because of popularity.
That sounds like a great. I want to try the peanut tamale. That sounds amazing.
It's like almost like a roll that we make. But again, this is a family. This is what we do in our family at home. We can always test it in the marketplace, see how it goes. But there's a wide range of tamales out there in the marketplace.
I think you should survey your existing customers and say, if we were to introduce another flavor, what would it be?
But the most traditional one out there you see is probably the red pork one. That's probably the most traditional one you see in the marketplace.
Yeah, definitely. And I think pork is a meat for sure. Are you seeing a growing number of people interested in non-meat options? I know that just people, as they're trying to maybe get healthier, a lot of people are adopting a non-meat, or at least, trying to watch their meat intake. Are you seeing people asking for more vegetarian options?
Well, that's why we offer the chili and cheese one.
Yeah.
That's why it sounds about 10% of the 90% is still heavily the pork one.
Okay. So people still want the super traditional pork.
Correct.
Exactly.
And we haven't, in our customer base, we haven't seen that much request for the non-meat items yet. But as you see, it's growing on a lot of menu items. A lot of restaurants carry it. The Beyond Meat product is obviously probably the most popular one out there. Mm-hmm. We haven't tested it yet, not yet, because we haven't had much demand for it yet. But I'm sure as time changes, there will be demand for it. And then it's actually a good product, Beyond Meat, and they did a good job with that.
Yeah, maybe 2021 will be the year. I have a question about the husks. So you mentioned using the corn husks, which is super traditional for Mexican tamales. Would it be blasphemy to use something else? Is there a potential substitute?
There is. It actually came out this year, and we tested it, and the flavor profile just changed too much for us. It's a paper product, and we tested it because our vendor said, hey, by the way, husks are are high demand right now because a lot of competitors have to start using tamales. They said we have a new product, and we tried it, and it wasn't very good. We didn't care for it, so we decided to stick with the husk.
Talking about all these tamales right now is making me super hungry, by the way. I just want to note that for the record. Aside from tamales around this time of year, I know that there are there are a lot of other Mexican specialties. And I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the other offerings that you have in the restaurant, like pozole. Can we talk about pozole?
Sure. So again, a traditional dish that's been in our family generations. My mom always made it for holidays and birthdays and those kind of things. But in the QSR world, pozole is not really out there yet. It's more of a full service or high-end restaurants. And again, like my mom, we have a great pozole. Let's try it in the restaurants. So we did this for the first time last year, and it was very successful. But pozole has been around used for generations in your family.
Many generations. I remember eating pozole since I was a little girl.
Can we talk about what are the must-have ingredients in a pozole? Because I'm sure, just like anything else, sometimes the ingredients or the approach to it changes a little bit.
Well, pozole is served usually with either with lettuce or cabbage, your preferences, and also with lime or lemon. I prefer lemon.
And it's a soup or a stew, really. It's much heartier than a soup. What are the ingredients that usually go into the stew?
We use California chile, and also we can put to make it hotter. The little chiles is called del árbol chile.
Del árbol. Mm-hmm.
Del árbol, yes.
And corn husk.
And corn husk.
Corn, excuse me.
And you use the hominy, right? Hominy.
We use the hominy.
The whole hominy, unlike what is, grits, which would be ground up, but the whole hominy. So you're having that whole corn product. Is there usually meat in it?
Oh, yes. You can serve it with either pork or chicken. Okay. Only those two kinds of meats. My kids like pork, but people that they on a diet, they prefer chicken. And it's also very flavorful. It's good.
And how do you make the base for it, the base for the stew? I know that you mentioned flavorful. It is maybe one of the most flavorful stews I've ever had. It tastes like it's probably cooked for a long time.
It's cooked. The corn has to be cooked for a long time. My son likes the raw corn, but that's very hard to make. I buy the can because the raw corn takes more hours to cook, but it's
actually cook it from scratch.
Yes, cook it from scratch. It is delicious. And you prepare your sauce first. You cook the corn for a long time, and then you meat. The meat doesn't need too long, and you mix it together. You put your sauces and ready to go.
And so, at the restaurant, what type of pozole do you serve?
We serve chicken and pork, red pozole.
Is there a more popular one?
Most people like pork.
Okay. Pork seems to be the popular across the board for the tamales and the pozole. I love it.
Yes. Yes.
Aside from those two dishes, what else do you offer at the restaurant, maybe that is a family tradition that you thought, this is just too good to keep in our family, we need to bring it to Miguel Jr.'s? What else do you offer in December?
We also offered...
in December, there's only two things we add to the menu.
Right now, only two. Only
tamales and pozole.
Tamales and pozole.
But year round we have the thing that we're also famous for, a chile relleno burrito, which is a relleno stuffed burrito, which is another item that we're known for out in this market. But those are the only two things we have for the season.
How about in your own family? What are the things that you like to break out that you celebrate with in your own family?
Well, we love mole in our own family. Mm-hmm. Mole is very popular. We have all kinds of mole. You can.
Which kind of mole do you prefer?
Right now, I'm working on the pipián, which is very good. It's a yellow mole.
Yellow.
But we have green mole, yellow mole, and red mole. We have those three. And
the mole, the negro mole.
The negro mole, I don't like it because it's too strong.
Too strong.
Yes.
I like it though. Personally, I like it. Okay. It's a treat though. It's not something that you could eat every day.
No, only once in a while. So, I cook the red mole, not the black mole.
So what we do in our family, if we feel there's a recipe that mom's made, we test it and then we produce it and put it in the stores. So when I jokingly say she's chief recipe officer, in some ways that she is, that's her role. Mm-hmm. Because of my parents founded the business in 1973, but they don't have any day-to-day operation oversee the business. But as far as the recipe development, my mom's still heavily involved in that.
Yeah. So. And I think that's a beautiful bridge because you're honoring the tradition and then you're making it so that it can be used in more of a commercial setting. Because I think the thing that for our listeners, if you've never operated a restaurant or worked in a restaurant, there may be great ideas, but the execution of it and the ability to make it consistently that good over and over again and make it so that it actually works within your margins and all of the other business considerations that you have to take. That's all the magic of making it work in a restaurant environment.
So we're fortunate because what happens is once my mom or we approve a recipe, my sister, that's the hard part. She takes it from there and then she figures out how to mass produce it. Mm. And then you're absolutely right. The business side of the equation, because there are some recipes that are cost prohibitive to put it in a fast food environment, but in a full service environment or other environment, maybe so, but not in a fast food environment. So that's there lies a fine line is when you start recipe development. It tastes great. Can you make it for 20 restaurants? That's an art, and that's what my sister takes over from there.
Yeah. So it really is a family affair. I have to ask you both, and don't look at each other when you answer this question. I'm going to ask Mary first. Mary, do you enjoy sharing your recipes and seeing them come to life in the restaurant?
I like to do it, but just you have to be careful because those are my recipes that I don't want anybody to have it.
Yes.
You have to be private and you have some people want all the ingredients, and that's my recipe. that keeps you successful. You have to keep your own recipes.
I love it. I love the protective nature of what you just said, because people don't realize how difficult it is to actually develop a recipe and make it really successful. Yes. So Javier, how about you? What's it like to have this family business legacy that you get to take care of and carry on? Well,
in some ways it's different in a normal business because it's a family business, and so there are, we have to learn how to work together and learn how to develop and continue to grow the business. So, for example, my parents started the business and then transferred it to us, to my siblings and I. And the next thing, what happens next? We're not sure yet, but at least it's been transferred to one generation. Mm-hmm. And then now we find ourselves in the role where we want to grow our business and infuse continue to infuse my mom into the business, but in a role where she feels comfortable and that she can still contribute and participate, not having the stress of running the business every day, but at least having a role in that business. So it's proud for me to sit here and tell you that I, half-heartedly say chief recipe officer, but really she is. Yeah. And then, her flavors are what makes us successful, and that drives our business. We make mistakes sometimes on service. We make mistakes on certain things, but really, at the end of the day, it's a food that helps us and grows our business. And people enjoy the recipe, the flavor profile. So in some ways, it's her recipes that are driving our growth of our business, and having her participate. Even we've been in business for 47 years, and to sit here and talk to you right now, 47 years later. I don't think my mom and dad envisioned that, but that's where we're at now, and how we last for another 50 years. So really, it's about the flavors and about the flavors that take charge, that drive our business.
The flavor, and the flavor in the family, I would say, right?
Correct. And again, it's second generation. So, and then you read unfortunately, a lot of times that's when things start falling apart. But we're actually growing and we're more successful than we have in the past for a lot of different reasons. And we're infusing the menu with items that we grew up with that are more traditional. And the palate is changing, and people are enjoying the range of a diverse food in our menu.
I love it. And, being in Southern California, this is just such an intrinsic part of our cuisine here. Mexican food is basically Southern California food. So correct. I think for us to be able to enjoy a little bit of variety within that and have you put your own personal stamp on it is amazing. As we get to the end of our interview today, I have a question that I always ask my guests, and I'd love for each one of you to answer. I'll start with Mary. Mary, if you could have any dish prepared by anyone with us or maybe not with us, what would the dish be and who would make it?
Chile rellenos.
Made by?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Who's going to make it for you?
My daughter, Sylvia.
Oh, wow. That's a huge honor for your daughter.
Yes.
Love it. Mm-hmm. Yes. How about you, Javier?
So I'm going to go non-Mexican food. I'm going to Italian food because that's my second favorite food. Is Massimo Bottura. He's
yes. Boy, to have Massimo Bottura make a meal for any of us would be quite a treat, wouldn't it?
Correct.
And what would the meal be?
I'm bolognese, the possible bolognese, something like that. I was intrigued how he can infuse different items in his food, and you'll see as the explosion of cooking on TV and blogs and learning classes. I think the future of cooking will blur, the lines will start blurring a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think what is so unique about him is he's able to also transform classic Italian dishes and create something completely whimsical and something beautiful to see, but it's still, the flavor is still, the star.
Correct. And that's what my mom's cook. My mom's not a trained chef by no means, but her profile and flavor is very strong and very dominant. So that's what we're using that. And I think customers enjoy that now, more so than anything than before. And especially in this environment where a QSR business is really, thriving because of drive-through and since now the full service restaurants have been basically closed for a while, they can still enjoy quality Mexican food in a drive-through environment.
Yes. So everybody check out Miguel Jr.'s